Sig! I never understood shouting Greek letters unless you're like from Greece. Welcome to Movies with James. Today we are talking about GOAT. This new movie follows the story of a guy who gets attacked brutally in a carjacking and then decides to pledge his brother's fraternity only for it to be a lot more Hays-oriented than he expected. This movie, like a lot of babies conceived in fraternity houses, just popped out of nowhere, completely unexpected. It was on available on iTunes today. It wasn't even in theaters. So it's kind of one of those movies where you're like, oh, so they couldn't even get it in theaters. Not that it makes it a bad movie, but it makes it like one of those movies. You know what I mean? Starring Ben Schnetzner, let's go with Schnetzner, Ben Schnetzner, and Nick Jonas. Whoa, he's back from the year 3000 already? Wow. This movie is definitely not your typical fraternity movie. In fact, I didn't laugh once. There was no comedy whatsoever in this movie. And that's rare in a fraternity movie. And they did a really good job making it completely different than any fraternity movie I could imagine. Let's get into this. So GOAT scored a 75 on Rotten Tomato. That's a much higher score than I would expect from a movie that didn't go to theaters and is about kids getting drunk. But let's hold off judgment until we get deep into this movie. Nick Jonas, I wasn't sure if he'd be able to pull it off, but yeah, he's a good actor when he's acting like Nick Jonas, you know? This kind of the Nick Jonas like, He just kind of does a lot of that. He's great at it though. The movie kind of began with a bunch of dudes shirtless going, making that face while they muted the background and kind of showed the cast and stuff. It kind of set me up thinking it was going to suck. It's definitely a more realistic version of most party movies. This is no National Lampoon, this is no Neighbors, this is no Animal House, but it is similar in ways. Alright, so let's talk about the goods of this movie. The biggest thing I can say that I like about this movie is the realism. There's no over-exaggerated parties of these dudes who are just super muscular and women that are way too hot to be in college, just dancing and painting themselves and having nice drinks and being all coherent. No, they do a good job showing that college is just people that are kind of normal looking, just being drunk, smoking cigarettes, just chugging vodka out of red cups. There's no glamorification of this movie. They do a good job just making it real, which kind of made it less cinematic, but it's a story, not a movie, which I really enjoyed about it. Clearly the writers have a sense of humor a little bit because, like, what should we name the guy who's in a fraternity? Brad? Good idea. Brad. But back to the little party scene, when you watch like National Lampoon or any American Pie or Neighbors, the parties, everyone's drunk, but they're not really drunk, they're still like, hello, how's it going? I'm having a great time, I'm wasted. In this movie, they're like, it really shows outside perspective looking in on people who think they're having a blast and they're the king of the world, when in reality they're kind of pathetic in a way. It was really a through the looking glass kind of moment. Was it? What does that even mean? Through the looking glass? I think it is. You can look that up for me. They do a good job explaining the fraternity system and why it is in place and the hazing process. So this guy who was beaten in a carjacking horribly, a little sensitive now, he wasn't sure he was gonna go to college, but Nick Jonas' brother's like, dude, you gotta go to college, we party hardy, we party hardy. And this guy's like, you party hardy? We party hardy. And they're like, I gotta go to college now, man. So he goes to college with Nick Jonas and he joins a fraternity. Oh, he pledges it. And the pledge process is very haze heavy, like horrible, as much hazing as you can imagine. And it's over exaggerated how much hazing you get, but there are colleges in the world that do it similar to this. I've heard stories, they exist. So it's not that unrealistic, even though it's really hard to watch and you're going, oh my God. Why do you want to be in this fraternity? They're making you do gross stuff. I don't want to suck that. I don't eat that. I don't want to put that on my body. Why are you doing this? Just to be in a little club with these guys who want to do this to you. And then they explain it when the one guy is like, dude, we gotta go. We gotta be in the fraternity. You can't not. You see, a fraternity is a lot like OPEC, okay? The Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. No one likes OPEC. They're a cartel. They control the market of oil. You don't want to deal with OPEC, but you have to if you want to drive places. So a fraternity is a lot like OPEC. They control the pussy. If you want the pussy, you gotta join or be part of the fraternity, aka OPEC with the oil. Now, you could switch to an alternative fuel source like a Tesla or a Chevy Volt. See, but when it comes to fraternity, the only other fuel source you can find are like fleshlights and, I don't know, Jergens. So really, they control the market. Overall, fraternities are just like the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. They control the pussy like they control the oil. They have the goods and you want to get in. You don't like getting in, you don't even want to be in. You just want the goods they control. The movie greatly explained how if one, group, the fraternity, can control so much valuable assets, plus they're so powerful with a bunch of dudes who are so like just, hey guys, hey man. They really essence the word douche in this movie. They let it right and clear what a douche is. I love it. And it's not like the traditional douche who has the backwards hat and like the Ray-Bans and drives, I don't know, Mustang. They do a good job making it the guy who's just a dick and is like, I'm a dick. But you understand the dick. The dick is a dick because he's been exposed to a world of such greatness and he knows if he's not a dick, he's gonna lose the greatness. So it's almost like, a vicious circle of being a dick. James Franco also does a cameo in this movie. He pops in for a second to yell and scream and then passes out. I'm not sure exactly why he's in the movie, but I have a guess. James Franco is kind of an artistic kind of dude. He likes to paint things. He likes to do good movies. I want to think he's a genius, but I also like to think he's kind of retarded. I don't know. But he's definitely one of the two. Currently, I'm thinking he's a genius because this movie was such a unique film. He's like, I want to be part of that, man. Yeah, I want to be part of that. Let me in it. So he's in it for like maybe 10 minutes. He's just the guy who owns the fraternity house. So he's like, hey brothers, what's going on? I'm crazy James Franco. How's it going? Guys want to drink some beer? All right. And the whole fraternity thing, they do a great job because in the movies they act like it's this big brotherhood thing and they're so loyal to each other. When in reality, they're just getting together so they can acquire the alcohol and the pussy. That's the whole concept. They don't really like each other that much. And the movie is just pinpoints this whole aspect of the college system. Okay, let's talk about the bads. Now, like all movies, there's a few bad things I want to address. Mainly the storyline issues. So at the beginning, the main character, he's attacked by two guys. How this happens is that he's leaving a party and he's getting in his car and some guy with a hood is like, hey, can I have a ride down the street? A little lesson in life, never give a guy in a hood a ride. Especially if you don't know him and it's dark out. So the main guy is like, you know what, no, I don't want to give you a ride. It's dark, I gotta get home, I don't really know you. You creepy with a hood on, I don't like it. Please. Well, since you said please, come on in, I'll drive you anywhere you want to go. Nice, let me get my boys. I didn't say you could bring you boys. All right, buddy, let's go. He's driving in a car with two guys in hoods on. They wear hoods. Never trust a man in a hood. Like the hoods kind of gave it away. They're driving, complete silence. They're just like eyeballing him like, we're gonna beat you up. We're just gonna beat you up. They tell him to drive. This guy's really nervous, like, okay, clearly these guys are gonna hurt me, I'm freaking out. They go to like an open field and they just start beating him up, They take some money, but I don't understand the concept though. Why would you rob a teenager who's driving a 1999 Ford Taurus leaving a party? I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not familiar with all these college students rolling in the Benjamins. All these high-class ballin' college kids just driving away in their Ford Taurus from 99 like, hope no one robs me with my stack of hundreds and pouch of diamonds. Man, aw dang, you guys got me. These guys are just violent people. They just beat him up, leave him. I thought it was dumb how they like had that situation go down. I think that there should have been a mugging or something, not just this weird car jacking with hoods on. Also, the whole reason he was leaving the party is because he's like, man, I don't want to be here anymore. I'm gonna leave the party. There's a life lesson. Don't leave parties early. If you leave parties early, you're gonna get beat the hell up. Next time, if you didn't leave early, you would have been fine. Don't be a party pooper. Stay at parties. You won't get the shit kicked out of you. Or you might. In my experience, I get the shit, but that's a different story. It's a good story, but the problem is they condense it into such little time for people's emotions to change. The whole thing is, Nick Jonas is like, dude, you should totally join my fraternity. I kind of am in a lot of pain from getting beat up. I don't think I'm gonna do it. You should totally do it. You know what? I think I'm gonna do it. All right, come do it. I'm loving this. I love doing this. You know what? I'm not that into this anymore. You should quit. I love it though. Nope, I don't like it. But you wanted me to join. It's just flimsy. But I understand what they're trying to portray, how Nick Jonas learns that fraternities are not everything and not as important. But they don't do a good enough job explaining that. I inferred it. They say the worst thing you could do in a movie is to let the audience know something they already know, which I agree. But they could have hinted and done some more scenes developing Nick Jonas's disdain for the fraternity. Just in my opinion. But that's it for the bads. It was really just story plot holes in my opinion. The imagery, the hazing they showed, the fraternity life, everything was really well done. All right, let's rate this movie. Again, 5 categories: story, acting, production, creativity, and watchability. Here we go. All right, story. It's an interesting story in the beginning part where they show a character getting beat up and mugged and robbed just brutally, and just having to pledge a fraternity that incites violence through hazing, and his experience with it. And I thought they were gonna do a lot of PTSD kind of stuff, but they really didn't touch on that. It was more of just a compare contrast of what's worse, actual violence or teen spirit violence. And I thought that was interesting, but the rest of the movie was just pure hazing, and a lot of it. It's actually hard to watch. So the story's a little diluted with a lot of scenes of hazing, kind of taking away from the story, but I feel they could have moved the issue that caused the climax, I'm not gonna give it away, a little earlier in the movie, so they could develop the aftermath of that situation a little more. But that's just me nitpicking. Honestly, I like this story. It was really creative and well done. 4.5. All right, acting. This movie is a lot of just screaming and yelling and looking sad and depressed. Woo! It doesn't require a lot of acting. Nick Jonas, he did a really good job, in my opinion, just because I was expecting such a low performance from him. Not that I don't like him, I didn't want to like him. Unfortunately, I really liked him in this movie. He did a good job. So that was well done. The I'm gonna check that out. Ben Schnetzner, he did a killer job. He has some cool hair. I want to grow my hair out like him. It's gonna take some time though. Bummer. And James Franco was in it for 10 minutes, but since he's the biggest actor, I have to bring him up. He just kind of did James Franco. He's not worth bringing up. Acting was fine, nothing amazing. 3. Production, they did a great job just showing what you needed to see and nothing more. Actually, probably more than you needed to see, but I still think that's what you needed to see. So good job there. The hazing, the pranks, the disgustingness, and the way they just showed college life in its trueness was so well done. The casting, the images of all the things. I don't want to get into depth because I want you to be kind of surprised, but the production was just on point. 5. Creativity. It's not a creative film in a way that it's just, you know, college kids getting drunk and stuff, but it's creative in the way that it's developed on top of an already horrific event, being, you know, beaten up by random people, and then their experience in a hazing environment. So that was actually really creative and well done, and I really think it was an important movie to make. This has never been done before, and I mean, I'm not to be like too happy and gung ho in this movie, but I really liked that, and I'm gonna give him a 5. Lastly, watchability. This movie is actually hard to watch. Hard to watch in a way where you're just like, ugh. It's not like Saw hard to watch. Like when you're watching Saw, you're more like, but you kind of like it. This movie's like, gross. Why do you, So it's hard to watch, but you want to keep watching. But it's no like super cliffhanger and big revelation kind of movie. It's just a average watchable movie. I'm gonna give it a 3. 4.5 plus 3 plus 5 plus 5 plus 3.
That would be 20.5.
20.5 times 4. 82. This movie is at 82. Wow. Rotten Tomato, 7 points too low, but that's pretty good for Rotten Tomato. They're usually way off. But Rotten Tomato, they're up there, they're getting there. They'll learn eventually with my system how it works. I don't just give random numbers, I give scores based off parts of the movie, then I multiply them by 4 because that just clearly makes sense. I think if you're in college or you're planning to go to college or you're in a fraternity or you're anyone who has experienced college life in any way or any fashion, you should watch this movie and go, wow. Of course, it's not an accurate representation of all fraternities. Some are pussies and don't haze. This movie shows us real fraternities who actually haze. It's definitely not a movie to watch with like someone who you want to bang. You're not going to get banged out of this movie. You're definitely going to get like, you're a creep for showing this movie. I'm going to get the hell out of this room. You're a creep. So don't show it to any, you know, romantic partner. Don't show it to your mom. She'll never let you go to college. Don't show it to your dad unless he's like a cool dude. Dad, you want to watch a movie? Totally, son. I'm a cool dad. Those kind of guys you can show them to. You can show it to your little brother or your little sister if you're like a weird older sibling likes to show them movies they should not watch. But I like it's a different perspective on a common theme in movies. You know, we see all these college movies, but we never see the actual effects it has on people's minds. All right, well, thank you for joining me on this episode of Movies with James. It has been an absolute pleasure to review this movie for you. I'm sure you loved it more than I did. I would appreciate it if you would like, comment, and subscribe. That would make me way happier than a lot of kids in this movie. They're actually pretty tormented, so you should definitely like, comment, and subscribe. All right, I'm gonna go, I don't know, maybe go on a walk, kayak somewhere, eat an apple. Who knows? The world is my oyster. Ooh, oysters.